TOFOP.
It took me until I was, guessing, in my mid-20s, before I had like a pet.
Yeah.
And just this week, because we've only had Churchy, she's not even a year old, and she's such a great cat. And it was a big deal for us to get another cat after, having lost two in pretty quick succession. And there's been a couple of times this week where I have just been so worried. And I was like, the thing that I was having that thought that you're having, which is like, I just care so much about this cat. And I know that in a practical way, it's like, well, I can't do anything about what will happen here. Like, it could be bad news. But if it is bad news, it's just going to feel so unfair and feel so terrible. And I know that heaps more terrible things happen all the time in the world. But when it's happening to you, about, something that you care about so much, it's full on.
Yeah. But my guilt was compounded by the fact that I have a beautiful baby daughter in my house. And, I would be lying if I didn't say part of my attention wasn't taken up by my dog is sick and knowing that I have this baby here, but also I felt like my focus was split and I felt terrible about that because I should be soaking up this moment. She's only going to be a baby once, I want to make the most of this moment, but it's weird because I also...
But at the same time, and again, I know that they, I'm sure there is a lot of minute changes that you notice all the time. But if you have half an hour where you concentrate on the dog and not on the baby, the baby's not going to suddenly start juggling in that half an hour and you're like, oh shit, I missed it.
It's not so much that, but I think it is, it's that
bonding.
Thing. Yeah, it's the bonding, but it's also the idea of, we talked last week about over-empathizing, because, when he was still sort of low energy and just sort of lying on his couch and looking really sorry for himself, I was lying next to him and curled up and, telling him he's a good boy and all this kind of stuff. But I was projecting a lot of kind of my own sort of issues into him, my own issues around death.
Yeah.
When he is an old dog who's had a really good life, who, if it turned out that was going to be his last few days.
He still had a great life.
Still had a great life. Yeah. And, I was there thinking, he must be so scared and lonely and blah, blah, blah. Well, maybe not. My brother sent me a great link to an article, which is what happens when we die. And it's a very scientific analysis of how the body shuts down and the brain functions, all this kind of stuff. And it
be a very, very boring answer on philosophy.
Really boring.
If I got to the end of the podcast, what do you reckon happens when you die?
Well, let me just get
you have an hour and a half.
Yeah. But it sort of helps you separate because you do invest so emotionally in that and you project all these kind of things into the loss. When really, the process that the body goes through, a lot of the times people have had near-death experiences talk about it being quite blissful or whatever.
Right, the body releases chemicals to help you deal with
eventually this biological shell has to let go, and that's not great. That doesn't happen without some discomfort or unpleasantness or whatever. But in terms of the emotional release, he's a dog. I don't think Junior has really pondered his life or the things he never got to do. I've never sniffed the Eiffel Tower.
He's just sitting there, whimsically looking at a whole bunch of things he could have sniffed.
Yeah, totally.
It's like the things that I could have sniffed and humped if I just had the opportunities.